So I'm going to talk a little about relationship influences. Hey there, this is Pastor Lilian Matthew. You are my strength. Relationships, it covers a whole lot of things. The relationship between me and you, the relationship between you and your parents, you and your boyfriend or girlfriend, and mostly the relationship between you and God. But today I want to talk about the spouse kind of relationship, the relationship between you and your boyfriend or girlfriend, the relationship between you and your spouse. Do you know that in as much as you might fall in love with your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your husband, and your wife, there is always going to be a set of people that will influence your relationship into the direction that it will take. Let's take, for instance, Ruth and Naomi. You know, if Naomi was not the kind of a woman that she was, Ruth was not going to meet up with the Boaz. Why am I saying that? As you study and read in the book of Ruth, Orpah and Ruth had an option to leave. By the word of Naomi, of course. They had an option to leave. But Orpah said, it's okay, I will go back. I'm too young for this. I can't be running around after Naomi for God knows what. And then she decided to go back to her people. But Ruth said these words, wherever you go, I shall go. Wherever you shall die, that's where I am going to die. So as I was studying scripture, I began to realize that Naomi had a certain influence over Ruth's life, to such an extent that even when Ruth had not requested that her mother-in-law find her another husband, she actually gave her tips, right? She gave her tips on how to go and get Boaz. First of all, yes, she went to the fields and to pick up some corn, but after she gave a report to Naomi then said that do A, B, C. When you follow this is they expected an outcome, right? And when Ruth followed what Naomi said, she got her Boaz. So there are negative influences and there are also positive influences. Here is something to note. Daughters, I hope you're listening. A bitter Naomi can never lead Ruth into the hands of Boaz. I have seen people that have gone out of marriages. When you ask them to talk anything about marriage, they have nothing positive to say. All they have to say is something negative. Everything they have to say actually is negative. But when you have the right kind of people in your circles, when you have the right mentors, you will get to your Boaz. This is not only related to women, men also. When you have somebody that leads the way, when you have somebody that gives you that positive thought, even in the midst of a negative environment, you will get the right wife to marry. You will get the right girlfriend to be with, to be in courtship with. Okay, so talking of influences, something just came into my spirit now. Okay, the Great Commission. Let's talk about the Great Commission, Matthew 28, where Jesus had to say to his disciples that all power has been given unto me. He meant to himself, all power has been given unto me. And then he released an instruction and said, go ye therefore and preach the gospel. Go ye therefore and preach the gospel. So why did he say this? And how is it of value when we are talking of relationship influences? I was then taken to the fivefold ministry. When we look at the apostolic, the prophetic, the evangelical, the pastoral, and the teaching ministry, you will realize that these ministries, the fivefold ministry, has a great influence over your life. It has a great influence over the nation. Even those that do not believe, when they hear apostles preaching, prophets prophesying, teachers teaching, pastors pastoring, and evangelists are bringing people to Christ, something is triggered within their spirits, and they know that they are influenced in a certain direction or in a certain way. I know before I met my father in the Lord, Prophet Passion, there is a certain way I used to live. There are certain things that I used to do. But the moment he came into my life, there are certain things he influenced into the right direction. This is a great testimony, of course. My husband, Prophet Israel, I met him through Prophet Passion. So he influenced me into the person that I then became. And I was able to get into marriage. Why? Because there was an influencer who influenced me in the right direction. So this is a homework or an assignment that I am leaving to you. It's not everyone that has to have a say in your relationship. You need to have the right people, the right mentors in your relationship, because a bitter tree can never produce sweet fruits. A bitter tree can never produce sweet fruits. So if you then allow for a bitter tree to have influence in your life, your marriage or your relationships are going to be sour, even with God. Those that have nothing good to say about God can never tell you how great God is. But the fivefold ministry can tell you how great God is, because the Great Commission had been commissioned over their lives. I hope this was of help and transforming. Till we meet again, be blessed. Pastor Lilian Matthews, signing out.